Serving up takes on Mizzou, the pros, and everything in between. Want to join in? Call or text the show at 573-875-KTGR. The Big Show starts now.
You bet it does. Welcome into Tuesday's edition of The Big Show on your total sports station, KTGR. It's Andy Humphrey and Brenden Schaefer here. We've got the good, the bad, and the ugly from the NFL. We've got comments from Eli Drinkwitz on, well, his response to the 3 annuals that were announced for his team or reported for his team yesterday. The full rotation will be officially released tonight. Also, Brenden, you asked about the kickoffs.
He talked kicking. He talked a lot about the kicking stuff. I loved it.
There's some interesting kicking comments from Eli Drinkwitz from today's press conference that you'll want to hear. So we'll get to that. We will get to the big SEC quarterback news of the hour, however.
Not our guy. Not our guy, right?
Not our guy. No. Not our guy.
All right.
A guy that Mizzou will see potentially, or will
you can
they?
Bet on that. And so can he. Apparently.
You know what? That's a good.
You liked it?
Yeah.
Hey. I get credit for that one.
Well done there. We will talk about all that news. We'll talk about Major League Baseball going to ABS.
Yeah, not robot umpires. We got to get the National Sports Center on board with that. But the ABS Challenge is coming to a stadium near you. That's fun.
Injury expert Will Carroll has thoughts on that at 4:25. He also talks some NFL injuries with us. So a lot to get to. You can call or text us at 875-KTGR. Leave us your thoughts there. You can also leave us a comment on our YouTube channel where we're live now. You can also find us on Facebook at facebook.com/KTGR Big Show and on Twitter at KTGR Big Show.
Now, the Big Show's Big Deal.
Yeah, so a future Mizzou opponent, Oklahoma, will be without its starting quarterback for some time. We don't know how long, but John Mateer, after apparently injuring his right hand in the game against Auburn last Saturday, is going to undergo surgery for that. But head coach Brent Venables says that he will come back at some point this season. No timetable set, very uncertain. Mizzou plays OU the second to last week of the regular season on November 22nd. So you probably think that he comes back if they don't think it's all that serious, the recovery time for John Mateer. But again, we shall see on that front. Tigers this week take on UMass. Homecoming game, Mizzou has started 4-0. Kickoff is set for 6:30 p.m. from Faroe Field. It's also a sellout this weekend. And that is the Big Show's Big Deal on this 23rd day of September 2025. You can call or text us here at 875-KTGR to tell us what you think about John Mateer missing some time for Oklahoma. Again, I don't really know how much that's really going to affect Mizzou because, look, if they expect him back at some point this season, then I don't think that they would say that if it was really going to cut it close, like to second to last week.
Yeah.
Like, again, we don't know. We have no idea what the recovery timeline is going to look like for John Mateer having a procedure on his hand after he injured that in the Auburn game. But I would have to think, my guess, if I had to say today, does Mizzou face John Mateer on November 22nd? My guess would be yes.
I mean, my bet would be yes. I think that's the most fun way to go about this when we're talking about this particular player. And there's already message board fodder from, OU fans that think he'll be back in time for Red River, which is the same day as Mizzou plays Alabama. Both teams have a bye both teams don't have a bye this weekend. Mizzou technically plays a game. But Mizzou's bye will be next weekend. And I think Drinkwitz had a little moment as well where he was talking about the upcoming game, and he's all in on UMass. My point was October 11th is the real next game for Oklahoma, and that's Red River. So you're hoping maybe be able to slide into that timeline and get him back. Can I make a hot take? I don't think Oklahoma necessarily needs him to beat Texas because I think their defense is legitimate. Oklahoma's defense is legitimate, and I'm not sure Texas's offense. I don't know what Texas and Arch Manning are going to be able to do against that Oklahoma defense in that game. So you might have a 17-13 type of outcome there, whether Mateer plays or not. But to your point, I agree with that analysis that, like, if they're already saying it's not going to end his season, well, if you're so sure about that, you probably expect that, by the time you get to November 22nd, that, he's going to be back in the fold.
I would think so. They will be careful with him, but I would still think that careful means, okay, so maybe you come back in November instead of mid to late October. I would have to think that that's what it is. Again, without knowing any of the insider info, not being the doctor, not being the guy who does the procedure on him and what they're telling.
You didn't?
John Mateer. No, I didn't. No.
Not you?
No, it was not me.
I bet he plays Red River. Just my gut.
Really? Okay. And that's
knowing nothing about the medical side of it, obviously.
3 weeks. Yeah.
It's the same date as the Bama game for Mizzou. So that's what we're kind of looking at, is like they play a game they have a bye this week. They play Kent State next week. So you're talking about almost 3 weeks. Can they, I don't know. It might depend too on how Michael Hawkins looks. Like, they'll have one game to look at him.
That's true.
Granted, not against Texas's defense. It'll be Kent State's defense. But it's interesting, but I don't think it changes things much for Mizzou. They'll see John Mateer when the time comes, is my expectation. It does missing a game or so, maybe 2, if he doesn't make Red River, changes Heisman odds. Maybe it's relevant to Mizzou from that perspective, because people are ready to give him the Heisman, and I think Mizzou's got a running back that should be talked about more.
Well,
Eli Drinkwitz didn't really beat the drum for that today, but he, I think, agrees with my take on, you can't just look at your favorite quarterbacks from around the country and decide that that's what the Heisman means.
Right.
But all will lay out the way that it is supposed to in due time with that.
It will be interesting to see all of that. I did see that at least one spot, one unnamed sportsbook.com locked everything on the Heisman odds with this news.
No kidding. Wow.
Or at least temporarily. I don't know if it's back up
for a moment.
Yeah.
Which is weird, because, like, I guess the thought would be if people would try to rush and bet on somebody else,
exactly,
whose odds should maybe be a little tighter based on the fact that Mateer might miss a few games. But no, our guy still has a little ways to go in the odds, but it has improved quite a bit compared to what it was, 2 weeks ago for Ahmad Hardy. I think he was like 250 to 1. I looked yesterday, it was like 60 to 1. So we've made some moves, but still not the national story that it needs to be, but that just let September and October happen, and then you'll start to see more and more of that, I predict, for the Mizzou running back.
Call or text us at 875-KTGR. You can tell us your thoughts on the Oklahoma news. John Mateer out for some time. And also tell us your thoughts on Mizzou as they get set for their next game. Let's go out to the KTGR hotline. Hello, who's this?
That's Quentin.
Quentin, you're on the big show. What you got, my friend?
I've got the good, bad, and the ugly.
Okay, we're going to have our good, bad, and ugly at 5:05. You want to call back then?
Certainly.
Awesome. Appreciate it. Quentin here on the big show, KTGR and the KTGR app. On the Heisman stuff, though, Eli Drinkwitz, these were when he was asked about what it means or how it feels for Ahmad Hardy to finally get some more of that attention. And here was Drinkwitz's response.
I haven't really seen much other than Mizzou people and the national people are still all caught up on 10 quarterbacks. So when they start actually looking into who are the best players instead of just the quarterback stats, because right now, national writers, no offense to y'all, they just look at stats. They're not actually watching enough games to know. But, we got a lot of football left. I don't think anybody's won the Heisman in September. So once you get into October and November and there's sustained excellence, we'll figure out who the best player in college football is. Right now, it's like the polls. The polls and the whatever are just for clicks and podcasts. So.
Yeah, look, I have long maintained that the most important month for the Heisman is November. Sometimes there have been years where I just called the Heisman Trophy winner the National College Football Player of the Month for the month of November. But, I mean, sometimes it has worked out that way. Everyone's just giving their best guesses right now. It is not really based on anything material.
And they haven't looked into players beyond that quarterback list, to Drink's point. Like, they're not – running backs rarely win the award. And so in September, until a guy just keeps having that drumbeat, like Genty got there to the ceremony last year alongside Travis Hunter, but like he had an unbelievable season, still didn't win it. I think you do Genty type stuff in the Southeastern Conference, you have a very different argument than Genty doing it against the type of competition that he largely compiled his numbers against. So that's just something that has to be, as Drink said, sustained. But keep Hardy healthy, and I think he's going to have a heck of a year.
Yeah, we'll see what it looks like for him. Call or text us at 875-KTGR. We want to know about the drop kicks, don't we? You wanted to know about the drop kicks.
And I learned some stuff about them, or at least the thought process behind them today.
I think I knew the thoughts behind it, but it was interesting to hear Eli Drinkwitz's take on why they did it. They did it at least the last 5 times in the game on Saturday against South Carolina. And Cody Goodwin of PowerMizzou.com was the guy who asked the question to Drink about it, and here was his response.
You know, we're still trying to figure out our kickoff situation, and obviously Oliver did a nice job. The first kickoff of the game, we kicked it. We knew in certain directions there was a little bit of wind, and Oliver might be able to get it into the end zone. But that first return, they ran a field return and really got out. It was a great play by Nick Rodriguez. So after that, with Connor's ability to drop kick, we could actually line up and dictate a kick away from their return. And so we knew where their return was going, and then he was able to kick it opposite, which allowed us to have a better coverage scheme. We knew that we weren't going to give up a big return at that point. We might give up some leak yardage. But with him returning it from the minus, I mean, he was a yard deep, or he was 9 yards deep in the end zone versus Vanderbilt. We just knew that unless we were with the win and felt confident about Oliver's leg, we were giving ourselves a real risky chance on a big time return. So we felt like the best way to negate that was to drop kick and kick it opposite. And they wouldn't be able to, no matter what they did, we were going to be able to kick it. If they would have put Nick on the left, we would have been able to drop kick it to the right and so on. So it was just kind of a schematic advantage that we felt like we had. And I'd never seen anybody do it before, so there's kind of that to it too.
That's the other part. That's what I was waiting for.
Wants to be different. Yeah, a little bit.
Which, like, I don't need, but also they clearly were like toying with some of this in the Kansas game, right? And that's how you ended up with he even joked and said, oh, found out the punt can't have, but the drop kick you can do, kind of poking a little more fun at the Big 12 refs. That happened as well.
Right.
So, it is sort of kind of that push the envelope and see what you can get away with mentality. But I also look at it, and you can tell me if I'm wrong, like, it seems as though this was the conservative approach to negate a return man that they had some fear of because of what happened in the very first return, what he did last week against Vanderbilt. I'm trying to remember where they started. It was probably like 35 or 40 on that first return of the game. He got some pretty good yardage, if I remember.
Against this game,
I'm talking about this game.
Yeah.
I mean, Drink said Nick Rodriguez made a great play that it could have been worse is the vibe that I got from the first return of the night, where I believe they kicked it off normally. And then from there, and Drink even went into like some further, talking about in practice, it was one of those things where South Carolina's guys did something similar. And so they showed it on tape of Carolina doing it to be prepared in case they did it. And then Connor Wesselman said, oh, I can do that too. Yeah. And then they saw it from him in practice. And so they did it, had it kind of in their back pocket. And I think pulled it out mid-game after knowing that he could do it, largely, because of the fact that they had a return man that they were concerned about their coverage for and didn't want to give up the touchdown play, basically, on a kickoff.
Well, here were all of the starting positions for South Carolina off of a kickoff when they received it from Mizzou.
Yeah. Okay.
They started this is just from start to finish. I don't even know which ones they kicked on or which ones they did.
Yeah.
So it was the 26, the 33, the 25.
And that was a touchback, I believe. They had one at least. Yeah.
The 35, the 26, the 30, and the 40. So those, it varies anywhere between mostly 25, 35 yards or so. There's an outlier for the 40, but that was when the game was over. Robert Meyer had already made the kick. And so
33, they were giving up some yardage to avoid the big play, to avoid the potential of a touchdown. on a return with a return guy that has demonstrated the ability to hurt you. And so, like, it's the conservative approach. It didn't kill them. I felt like at times, especially late, it was frustrating because in another example of it was, and I think we talked about this a little bit yesterday, but they declined the penalty after a punt that set South Carolina up at like the 31-yard line, I want to say it was, where it was running into the kicker, not roughing, and so Mizzou would not have gotten a fresh set of downs. And so instead of taking it as a 4th and 2 and re-kicking, or maybe go for it, but they wouldn't have, they just said, let's just not re-kick because, again, this returner that they have is in the back of our minds. And, you've got a largely newer special teams group. I know their punter is experienced, but,
He's been pretty good too, honestly.
He's
the numbers
been good this year, and punting was maybe a bit of a sore spot for the team last year. I think as a whole is fair to say. So been largely pretty solid this year. But the one that he got run into was kind of a wobbler, and I was thinking, oh, surely you can get more leg than that if they re-kick it from 5 yards up. And they elected in that spot as well to go with the conservative approach to not risk a potential return and touchdown. And so, like,
because you can outkick the coverage and then you allow all that space. And so I honestly was wondering that myself. I think the only reason they probably would have taken the penalty is if he wanted to go for it.
And they'd had to have been closer to midfield to do that, which I'm captain go for it. I'm the guy that's always complaining that he doesn't go for it enough. And even I'm saying in that spot, I was just thinking, man, and I think it was a close score. I forget the exact score in that moment that we're talking about, but it was a 1-possession game. And you're just thinking, man, giving up where they could have pinned them potentially because they would have been in a very favorable, like if it's close enough that we're debating should they have gone for it, probably have a really decent chance to pin them on a punt. But it seems as though the underlying, commentary on all of this is maybe not elite confidence in the special teams from that game. I'm just, you know what I mean? Like, would rather let's do the most conservative thing so we don't get burned. Not that they don't trust their guys, but I think the coaching certainly catered toward let's avoid the big mistake because we're outplaying them in every facet of the game. Don't let something kind of niche turn this game around and put it in their favor when we are dominating in all facets.
But I think
the more I think through it,
you can instill more confidence in your defense that way. It doesn't matter where you start on the field, just stop them. And I think on that play where they had the chance to either take the penalty or decline it, the next drive for South Carolina, I believe, was a 3-and-out.
They stalled. They stalled out.
Yeah, they didn't do anything there. So, I mean, it's
the run defense was obviously a big part because it's third down if they're going to give it. And you said it yesterday, Andy, the worst play anybody can make against Missouri is to hand their ball off to
that's the goal,
the running
at least,
back.
Right? Like that's what you want.
What happened. It's what happened on Saturday to the point where like I'm celebrating every time they're handing it off because I don't think it's going to amount to very much. I'm celebrating every time that Sellers thinks he's going to take it off and run for it because they largely did a very good job of spying him and whoever had the responsibilities on a given play to keep him moderately in check did so in nearly every case. There were a couple of breakdowns, and I think Drink talked about one of them today, but largely they did a really good job and as good as you could possibly hope to do against the run. Against the pass, it's like when you're at the 31, instead of maybe pinning them deep, they have more of that comfort to throw over the middle, and suddenly they're in field goal range, and it happens rather quickly. So as that unfolded on Saturday, I was maybe wanting them to go a different direction. But clearly, I think the right call to trust the defense and to understand where they could have been burned and have faith that the things that they were going to succeed in, which was continuing to stall out that Carolina offense, were things they would be able to do. What did you make of the other kicking conversation, though, that happened in the press conference today and I noticed this as well during halftime, those two kickers from Mizzou were out there kicking the whole time after marching Mizzou finished up.
Yeah, Robbie Meyer and Oliver Robbins.
And Robbins, I was like, Meyer's only kicking from short. And it looks like Robbins has taken the long bombs from 45, 50. And I kind of clocked that, but just forgot about it until today when Eli Drinkwitz mentioned that this was a thing.
Yeah, and it was apparently something that I guess was also made known on the TV broadcast at the time. And again, I wouldn't know better. I wasn't listening to the TV side. I usually listen to the radio side. But that was apparently a thing that they went in, that Robbins was going to take the kicks from 40-plus, and Robbie Meyer would have anything beneath that. Here was Eli Drinkwitz discussing that dynamic today.
During the week of practice, Robbie was struggling from outside of the 20, and Oliver was doing really good. And we do a kicking segment every Tuesday with our group in front of everybody to try to simulate pressure. And let's just say Rob didn't have a great week in that simulated pressure, and Oliver did. So going into the game, the plan was, and they knew the plan, that anything inside the 20 was going to be Robbie, and anything outside the 20 was going to be Oliver. And then we got to the last kick, and we just felt like the first kick of a young man's career cannot be basically for the game-sealing kick. And so I don't even know if Robbie knew it was the fourth quarter. So we just ran him out there, and he kicked it. So I'm still not sure he knew what he was doing, but went in. So that was good.
There you go.
That scares the crap out of you to listen to it, but it all worked out great. Kicking is a weird thing, man. It's like there's more psychology, it feels like, to the kicking thing than anything else in football. Is that fair?
I think
your
so.
whole job is to kick balls, and you've got your leg and you've got your head, and that what's going on in your head. That's why Drake said, I don't even know if he knew what he was like. You got to keep those kickers in a mind frame, in a state of mind to be able to go out and do their thing, and he did.
Because sometimes they probably don't know exactly what the yardage is. They just know that they have to be prepared for a certain range. Like, just go kick, right? And maybe they adjust it slightly when, you've got more of a chip shot.
Sure.
Like, I think the goal for a lot of kickers is when you're inside 30 yards or so, make sure you get more loft so that it's not blocked.
Get it up. Exactly. Get it up high.
And then obviously you change the launch angle a little bit the further you go out, and so that can be adjusted. But yeah, it was interesting to hear that. And honestly, like, I agree with Drink's mentality of like, look, Oliver Robbins, he's got the leg, he's been kicking very good, but in that spot, that's probably not where you want to switch it up, right? So
if I may offer this suggestion, Mizzou's going to score a lot of touchdowns this Saturday. I would make sure those guys are almost alternating on PATs. Like, I know that might sound crazy, or if not alternating, give Robbins a kick at some point. Not to say that because look, Meyer's the guy that I would go with. He demonstrated it with the 40-yarder, but I also think that don't let there be a moment later in the season where, what if Robbie Meyer is injured? What if, there's a lot of things that can happen, and this isn't me doubting the kicker, because I didn't know about all that stuff that was said on TV, and so I knew it would be Meyer coming out in my head, and it was, and so, that's what I expected. So I didn't know all this stuff had been happening, but I had such zen confidence, this kid, it's his moment. He's going to make the kick. And so, as part of it, okay, never doubt him again, because you don't want to even imply there's any, or can you say, let there be a moment where Robbins gets some game action against UMass, because it's your last chance to do it, just in case something should happen down the road that you would need him, and you can't lean on that reasoning of, well, it's his first kick. I would love to see him kick a ball at some point after Meyer has had plenty of work, because it's important. He's going to be the guy. It's important to get him his work as well. But it's interesting that when you think about, we talked yesterday about the drive that led to the 40-yard field goal. They lost a couple yards, right? And so does it go from clear Robert Meyer territory to now we're backing up, and it's almost, now this is when we
just change up to the next guy after the last couple plays.
You're prepping Meyer, because it was, your expectation was, we'll probably run the ball and get at least 4 or 5 yards, and it's going to be a closer kick, 32-yard kick.
Yeah.
And then when it ends up being 40, that's such an interesting dynamic. Now knowing that they had sort of planned to kind of divide up the responsibilities that way, I'm glad it went the way that it did even more. I said yesterday, I love that they went conservative, and it was a meaningful kick that was kind of for the game, as Drink said, but also you could technically still win it without that kick, so it wasn't do or die. But having the pressure, that's not simulated. That was real pressure, but it wasn't, if you miss it, we're definitely losing. It was, if you miss it, let's trust the defense and go win the football game. But the fact that they were able to, you couldn't have drawn it up much better. And it's not that they tried to lose 3 yards to get to it, but I really liked that it happened that way, because you learned something about Robert Meyer that I think is important to know as you move forward through your season.
And look, assuming he's healthy throughout, I would think that Mizzou probably uses him in most of those situations. It seemed like maybe this was a bad week for him, and they wanted to have a contingency plan. So maybe if he just has another normal week and he looks good from most ranges and accurate, then maybe he's just the guy still as your place kicker. So
I think it will be. It happened today, right? I don't know what time the practice wraps up. But
whatever it might have been.
It's their Tuesday session where they did the kicking thing today.
Right.
I'll bet you Robert Meyer had a great day.
Yeah.
Just my take. I just think after you make a kick like that against South Carolina in an SEC game to basically seal the game, for your team to move to 4-0, really 5-0, I bet Robert Meyer he's going to be locked in. I feel good about where he's at this point.
875 KTGR. Give us your thoughts on the kicking situation, the kicking comments made by Eli Drinkwitz today. We'll roll along. We'll also, if we get a chance, give our thoughts on what Eli Drinkwitz's response was to the annual opponents. That's coming up soon. Also, the injury expert Will Carroll weighs in on MLB going to the ABS system, as well as the new NFL injuries from this weekend. That's next here on The Big Show.
The Big Show with Andy and Brenden continues next on your total sports station, KTGR.
On game day, every needs a. And every tailgate needs Kingsford charcoal. And a match. Whatever lot you're in, whatever you're grilling up for your fellow Tiger tailgaters, Kingsford charcoal is the official charcoal of Missouri football. Without it, you're just standing around in a parking lot. Since 1920, Kingsford has been proud to fire up your tailgates with friends and family. Kingsford.com.
From elegant weddings to corporate lunches with flavor and flair, Courtyard by Marriott Columbia brings the party and the pros. It's the home of Main Event Catering. And with every event, you'll get an award-winning chef, full banquet staff, and drop-and-go options for any size crowd. And the event center holds up to 300 guests with 8 flexible rooms. If you need help, there's a Marriott certified wedding coordinator on staff too. Book now by calling 573-443-8000.
Shangri-La is proud to be a part of every black and gold home game this season at the Zimmer Tiger Tailgate. Swing by our tent to play games, win prizes, and hang out with Missouri's top team of cannabis aficionados. Want to join the fun? Pick up your free Tiger Tailgate tickets at any Shangri-La location. Then come find us on game day. We'll be bringing the energy, the prizes, and the community spirit that makes Tiger football unforgettable. Shangri-La Dispensaries is paradise found. ShangriLaDispensaries.com.
Hi, I'm Tristan Colon, Mizzou grad and 6-year NFL veteran.
I'm Charlie Stickland.
And I'm Sarah Stickland McDonald of the Stickland & Stickland Injury Law Firm.
In football, home field advantage can make all the difference.
The same is true when choosing your injury lawyer.
We're locals. We know the courts, we know the towns, we know the people.
Just as I protect my team on the field,
our family will protect your family.
When sorry just doesn't cut it.
Push back with Stickland & Stickland.
Michael Agnew here with API Project Fitness. I understand that life is hard, and if you're soft, it will squish you. You must find a way to be hard. Armor yourself up mentally and physically and emotionally. Our goal is to help you find your inner strength and hardness. The difference between strength and weakness is choice. With our group fitness classes and personal training and open gym, the choice is yours. Choose strength. Find us at APIProjectFitness.com or call us at 573-268-6944 to make an appointment.
If you're tired of the employee that flakes out on Fridays or uses 471 sick days, it's time to start recruiting at MidmoHires.com, where you'll find great local people looking to work for a great local company. At MidmoHires.com, once you post your open positions, potential employees can research the position and get in touch with you way faster than using those gigantic national job sites. If you're sick of people splitting before lunch on a Friday, check out MidmoHires.com. Great local companies hiring great local people. MidmoHires.com.
Welcome to Macadoodles. Macadoodles does game day like nobody else. Whether you're tailgating or hosting a watch party, Macadoodles has you covered. With more than 3,200 wine labels, 1,500 spirits, and 600 craft and imported beers, and delivery right to your tailgate or doorstep, the days of making a beer run are over. Macadoodles delivers, providing unmatched selection at unbeatable prices. Drive through today or come inside and experience our world-class customer service. Who does game day like nobody else? Macadoodles does.
Back to more of the biggest sports stories in mid-Missouri. You've got The Big Show on the KTGR app.
Back here on The Big Show, KTGR and the KTGR app as we roll along here on this Tuesday. And as we always do on Tuesdays, we check in with the injury expert Will Carroll to talk, well, more football injuries from this past weekend in the NFL and some major baseball news today that was made official. The injury expert Will Carroll, you can find his newsletter at undertheknife.substack.com. Let's start with the football side, Will. We did not see Xavier Worthy this past weekend, still dealing with the the shoulder issue. It seems that the Chiefs still wanted to be precautious with him, and he didn't travel to New York for their last game. But it seems that it would line up for him to start start back up, I should say, with a home game against the Ravens. How do you kind of see it, and whether there was extra benefit for Worthy with the injury that he has to delay another week?
Time and treatment always help. Another week often is nice. You love it when those bye weeks come up. But I think the one thing you have to look at here is, it's not going to get significantly better. Whatever damage happened inside is usually the soft tissue, labrum, ligament. Those don't heal quickly. So another week isn't going to make a significant difference. I think what it really came down to, and what I was hearing all week, is that he just didn't look comfortable with the brace. And if he couldn't, move his arms, you can't catch the ball. And that's obviously what you have to have him out there to do. They didn't want to use him as a decoy. He's not obviously a blocking kind of guy. So they're just saying, you know what, let's see when he's functional. So another week, time of treatment, and seeing whether he gets a little more comfortable with that brace.
Yeah, we'll see if that is, in fact, this week for the Chiefs. And well, they got the win this past weekend, but certainly need that help in the receiving room. We'll see if Xavier Worthy can bring him that. To other NFL injuries, there were several once again this week that will make major impacts for the rest of the season. Let's start in Dallas with CeeDee Lamb. Looks like high ankle sprain for him. What do you see with his particular case? And that's a tough blow for Dallas, who haven't been able. I mean, they got that win against the Giants themselves, but the way they looked this past weekend, things not looking all that great without CeeDee.
No, they beat the Giants, but my gosh, everybody's going to beat the Giants. It's one of those things where a high ankle sprain for any kind of player is bad. But for that kind of player, a guy who's, he's not a pure speed guy the way that Worthy is. He's a route runner. He's a guy who has to be able to cut and move and juke. He's not big, so you don't want him taking big hits. So it's worse for him than for most. And I also hear this is a fairly significant sprain. Remember, a high ankle sprain isn't like a normal ankle sprain. If you roll your ankle, step wrong, playing basketball, whatever, that's the actual ankle. This is the joint in between the two bones of the leg. It's about 3 inches above where you normally think of the ankle. So that ligament that goes in between there, the syndesmosis, you can see why we had to come up with another name, that has a significant tear, and you don't want that. So I do think this is going to be a 6-week minimum injury for Lamb.
That will be tough to overcome for the Dallas Cowboys. We'll see what happens there. The injury expert, Will Carroll, here on the Big Show, KTGR, and the KTGR app. Let's move on to another wide receiver who's getting up there in age, Mike Evans, still doing it at a very high level, but now it appears that he'll miss 3 to 4 weeks with a hamstring issue. For a guy, again, for as long that he has done it for, dealing with this type of injury, is there any more lingering concern about a guy like that, should that timeline still hold true, Will?
Not really. Evans, that Aggie, has had trouble with hamstrings and calves since he was in college. He's tight, he's big, he's strong, he's fast. So those muscles are they're a little tight, and he's strained them before, he'll strain them again. So he actually tends to heal pretty quickly. Whether that's actually heal or whether he just knows how to play through it at this point, doesn't really matter, because the outcome is the same. I'm not that worried about him, really. He won't be able to play this week. It wouldn't stun me to see him just miss the 1 week, especially given all the other issues they have down there in Tampa.
Yeah, we'll see what that looks like for Mike Evans for sure. The injuries are continuing to pile up for the 49ers, though. They obviously have had their fair share already on the offensive side of the ball with Brock Purdy, George Kittle, Juwan Jennings, too. Now on the defensive side, Nick Bosa appeared to have the season-ending injury. It looked like clean break on the ACL for him. I guess you're now
I love that.
Whatever that means. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Like, how do you kind of read Nick Bosa's situation? Obviously done for the year, but what does that mean going forward for him?
Yeah, I don't know where this clean break thing came from. It's a single ligament. Okay, that's nice. I don't care how it tears. They've got to go in there and reconstruct it. It's not like they're going to leave it in. It's not like they're doing anything advanced. They're just going to do a plain old ACL reconstruction like they've done for 20, 30 years. Why they don't do more advanced stuff, I don't know, because it does exist out there. I've detailed a lot of it at Under the Knife. But for Bosa, the more interesting thing here is genetics, because both he and his brother, history aside, and yeah, look that one up, they just can't stay healthy. So is this genetic? I mean, one of the things that's always fascinated me is the genetics of sports, because there's so many brothers. In a lot of cases, even twins, like Ozzie and Jose Canseco. Yeah, why was Jose as great as he was? Ozzie had the same steroids, so you can't say it's that. So this is one of those where it's just might be one of those genetic things where, as good as they are, they just can't hold up under an NFL workload. And those are the kind of things, it's why they've been doing genetic testing for years at the NFL Combine, despite the fact they can't figure anything out from them now. But having that much data they can look back on, at some point they're going to figure this out, and they'll be able to look back at, 10, 20 years of genetic data and go, oh, that guy. But we don't have that now. All we have is ACL reconstruction, and we'll see Bosa next year. Maybe. I hear this might be it for him, that he's very distraught about this and is considering whether he walks away from the game.
Well, we'll look to see what that decision is eventually for him. The injury expert Will Carroll here on the Big Show, KTGR and the KTGR app. And what you got?
I do have one other. Sorry to interrupt.
No, you're good.
You started off with it. It made me think of it, is that the 49ers have a ton of injuries, and they had a ton of injuries last year. It was probably the difference between how they were a couple of years ago. Purdy has obviously established himself as not just a cool story, but a real NFL quarterback. But all these injuries, it's because, and I think largely, they lost their performance director a couple of years ago. He moved on. Ben Peterson left, went a different direction. Even though they have a really good medical staff, even though they spend a lot of money on sports science, that one change seems to have caused a ton of drop-off. And when you have somebody as good as him, behind the scenes, you have to know it. Fans out in the world, they don't know it. They're never going to highlight guys like that on the talk shows before or make the highlights. But that was a big, big kind of hidden move for the 49ers. And some teams have those guys, some teams don't. And you see it in the results.
Well, and you're even saying even just beyond, maybe even behind the training staff, what's even beyond that door is maybe what's causing most of that, and what's become even more important for some of these teams.
Exactly. It's got to be a holistic thing. These staffs have to work together in so many ways, and too many places are still siloed. I talked to one team and asked about an assistant coach. He's like, I've never met him. These are guys who are in the building every day.
Huh. It's fascinating. The injury expert Will Carroll here on the Big Show KTGR. Over to baseball, Will. Big news. ABS system is going to be implemented next season in Major League Baseball. That means a pitcher, a hitter, or a catcher can tap their head and challenge either a ball or a strike. You get 2 challenges a game. You keep them if you're right. We've been looking down the pipe on this for a while, but now that it's going to be official, Will, what's your take on how it will go?
Oh, yeah. I personally welcome our robot overlords. I've been waiting for this for a long time. All you have to do is watch social media, and you're going to see some bad umpire. The fact is that umpires do a really good job most of the time. There are a couple that are a little off. We don't have Eric Gregg to beat up anymore. Angel Hernandez is gone, but there have been some howlers. And if an umpire gets it wrong, there needs to be a system to make it right when it counts. I don't love the 2. I would much rather have the non-challenge system where the system that always gets it right is used. Why not go to 100%? I realize there's a union for the umpires, but yeah, I'm excited about this. I think the system works. They used it for years now in the minor leagues. They used it in spring training, and there were no issues. And it's, getting the game right. Don't tell me about human element. Don't tell me about delays. It takes seconds. This is a system that just simply works. So I'm happy to see baseball putting it in. I wish they'd put it in earlier. I wish it was the non-challenge system, but I'll take this. I'll be happy with this.
The medium, right? You got to find a happy medium, I guess, for all folks. And I personally am excited about it too. We'll see how it goes for this first run in an actual regular season in 2026. It appears, Will, on the Cardinals side, that Nolan Arenado might have played his final home game for the Cardinals. They kind of gave him a send-off the other Sunday and still with the team as they go through their last road trip here. But just curious now as they, again, try to – as Chaim Bloom starts to take over, obviously Arenado's future up in the air, but it sure seems like it's going to be somewhere other than St. Louis. What more do you think that could also signal as we see this offseason unfold?
I don't think it signals anything. I think it was nice. But we had the same feeling last year. I mean, there was a lot more discussion of him being traded. He was traded and he declined it. He has that same power, the no trade clause. So we'll see. I don't think there's any sudden urgency. I don't think Chaim's walked in there and said, dude, you're out of here. It's just not how he works. So I think, is he a guy who they're going to look around on the market? Is Boston going to be a team if they lose Bregman? Who's going to need a third baseman who, there's some question marks. Does he go back to Colorado? That's one thing I've heard discussed. There's a lot of ways this could go, but I think the most likely, better than 50-50, is that he's a Cardinal again next year, and that he's not getting paid so much. As for what that team needs to do, a lot. They need to get better. This is a team that's got to figure out a way to graduate some of these players. They've got to take some of these good players and turn them into great players, whether that's making them better through development. Is that trading a couple of them for one good player? Do you just kind of rotate it over and say, hey, here's some pieces and parts, give me a prospect? Do you make a commitment to the young players? I think if you take a look at a team like Cincinnati, who's suddenly in a wild card position, they committed to doing some weird things like playing infielders in the outfield that had never played there, putting people in positions they probably had never played, cutting their dead weight. They had a bad signing with Candelario, but here they are. They committed to the young guys and dealt with it for a couple of years, and now it's coming together, and their team, not a lot of people want to face with that pitching. I think Pittsburgh could do the same thing. They've got the number one prospect in baseball in Connor Griffin, who's at AA. Could he make the leap? Yeah, absolutely. They've got a kid named Hunter Barco who's starting, I think, tonight, that they brought up, and he's a weird lefty. He's one of those guys you're going to say, what is a weird lefty? I can't describe it on the radio. Watch this guy pitch tonight or look up a video of him. Weird lefty. I think Pittsburgh, of all teams, should just take everybody. I know it's nice to have somebody like an Andrew McCutchen or even a Nolan Arenado on your team, but if you're not winning, move that guy on, pat him on the back, give him a statue or a gold watch, and commit to the young, exciting players that might give you a better chance at winning.
Will, what's new at Under the Knife?
Tons of stuff. I'm taking a look at, obviously, I'll have a look at the new ABS system and how that might change things, especially in terms of injuries. I've got a big thing on the Rays sale that's now official, and what that might do. And of course, we got a ton of injuries, including some really weird ones coming up tomorrow.
All right. All great stuff as we get ready for the playoffs here very soon. It's great info to have in Major League Baseball from the injury expert Will Carroll at undertheknife.substack.com. Great to have him here on the big show, KTGR. Will, thanks for coming on. Hope you're well. We'll talk again soon.
Thanks a lot, boys.
Big show's on at 4:45 KTGR and the KTGR app. We'll obviously have more thoughts on the ABS system coming at 5:25, but they just needed to just slip in like, oh yeah, ABS next year. And I think a lot of us said, yeah, we know, but thanks for telling us.
Yeah, you could have just, if it weren't so stuck in the mud as an organization, MLB could have said, actually, it worked really well in spring training. Let's just go for it and do it this year. But I think they just weren't quite ready. They needed that one more summer of kind of build up to gear up and make sure the technology is where it needs to be in all the ballparks, et cetera. And so I'm sure that's all coming, and it'll be a good thing for the game.
All right, up next, an era over in Oklahoma State. That and more from Under the Bus next.
Now, your local Sports Center update on your total sports station, KTGR.
Good afternoon. I'm Andy Humphrey. This Sports Center update is with Lee's Tire Company. If it's round and rubber, Lee's sells it. Go to leestirecompany.com. The SEC is set to reveal the full rotation of opponents for all 16 teams over the next 4 years as the team or the conference moves to a 9-game scheduling model. We already know who the annual opponents will be for everyone. Mizzou knows through the multiple reports that leaked yesterday that they will play Oklahoma, Arkansas, and Texas A&M each of the next 4 seasons. The full rotation of opponents, again, will be released tonight at 6 p.m. Cardinals yesterday got a win over the Giants 6-5 as they win their first game on their final road trip of the regular season. Michael McGreevy getting the win. A 4-run 5th inning by the Cardinals helped propel them ahead in the game and eventually seal the win. Ivan Herrera had a big 2-run homer in that inning. Cardinals are 3 games under 500. They take on the Giants tonight at 8:45. Royals, after an off day yesterday, also begin their final road trip of the regular season. They are at the LA Angels. Cole Reagans will make his second start back from the IL tonight. First pitch just after 8:30. Now your ABC 17 Storm Track forecast.
I'm ABC 17 Storm Track Chief Meteorologist Jessica Hafner. I'm still tracking scattered showers and a few rumbles of thunder tonight. We'll drop down to about 64. We'll likely see some fog tomorrow morning with spotty showers and a few storms heading throughout the afternoon. Temperatures remain in the lower 70s. By tomorrow night, we're starting to clear out a little bit. We'll have partly cloudy skies with lows falling down into the mid-50s and more sunshine by Thursday. I'm ABC 17 Storm Track Chief Meteorologist Jessica Hafner, and that's your ABC 17 Storm Track forecast on your total sports station, KTGR.
Truman the Tiger. M-I-Z. Marching Mizzou. And of course, the traditions of Mizzou football live here. Join us Saturday. It's homecoming against the UMass Minutemen. Our coverage begins at 4:30 on your home for Mizzou football.
We are Mizzou. Let's go get it done.
Mid-Missouri's total sports station, KTGR.
Get organized with new Dakota Closets storage solutions at Menards. Dakota Closets are versatile and can be installed in any room, from home offices and laundry rooms to walk-in or reach-in closets and so much more. Use the You Create Closet Planner available in-store or online to design a closet system that maximizes your space and matches your style. Plus, check out our weekly flyer on Menards.com for all the great deals happening now.
Save big money at Menards.
This is Kim with Hearing Aid Consultants. For some, the thought of wearing a hearing device makes them feel old. In reality, improved hearing helps prevent accelerated aging. Untreated hearing loss not only can decrease your lifespan, but it can also lead to a faster decline in cognitive abilities and increase the likelihood of dementia. Come see us at Hearing Aid Consultants for your free hearing evaluation today. Hearing Aid Consultants in Allmake Repair Lab in Jefferson City. We are here for you today so you can hear tomorrow. HearingAidConsultants.com.
Discover, explore, and soak in the views of the incredible landscapes that make up the last frontier, Alaska. Experience the diverse culture and rich history as we cruise the Pacific coast and explore the wilds of Denali, Glacier Bay, and beyond. And boy, do we have some good news. There are currently still seats available, but don't wait, as you only have until October 3rd to book this once-in-a-lifetime trip. To RSVP and learn more, go to ZimmerCommunications.com today. School's back. Schedules are packed, and the last thing you need is a list of home repairs. So reclaim your weekends with Bax Homeworks, the fastest, most affordable handyman service in mid-Missouri. Whether it's mounting that new TV, fixing leaky faucets, or replacing a ceiling fan, Bax has you covered. No job's too small, and no wait is too long. Visit Bax Homeworks on Facebook for monthly giveaways and awesome prizes. For more, visit BaxHomeworks.com. Bax Homeworks, getting your to-do list done. You think you're saving money until one accident wipes it all away. Cheap car insurance can leave you dealing with medical costs, repairs, even uninsured drivers. It piles up fast. That's why you need Phyllis Nichols. She's not just an agent. She's the 12-round fighter in your corner. Phyllis digs into your policy, breaks down your options, and makes sure you have the coverage to handle whatever life throws at you. Don't get knocked out by being underinsured. Call State Farm agent Phyllis Nichols, the 12-round agent.
1851 Underground is one of those cool joints the family would enjoy going even if the food wasn't good. But it is good. Really good. Famous burgers like the 1851, topped with pulled pork and hickory bacon, or the fire and ice chicken sandwich with Cholula honey and pepper jack cheese. The Baja fish tacos with crispy fried cod and avocado cream sauce is another favorite. It's not a secret, but it is underground. 1851 Underground in the historic Brick District in Fulton. Find them on Facebook and Instagram.
Winter's on the way, so now's the time to plan your tree pruning. Here's why. In winter, trees are dormant, which means they're less risk of disease. Plus, without all those leaves, it's way easier to see exactly what needs trimming. The educated, licensed, insured, and experienced crew at Advanced Tree Solutions knows how to protect your trees and your wallet. But spots are filling fast, so schedule your winter pruning today at AdvancedTreeSolutionsLLC.com. Advanced Tree Solutions, LLC, your tree's best friend.
They can't shoot it straight on the golf course, but they can shoot straight on the biggest sports stories in mid-Missouri. Back to Andy and Brenden on The Big Show on KTGR.
Thought this might be coming. Mike Gundy out at Oklahoma State. They lost to Tulsa the other weekend.
Yeah, they did.
So
you can't do that.
Yeah, really cannot do that. I mean, look, it really went south the last couple of years for Gundy in what has been, let's be honest, a very impressive run of coaching. Like, at one place, we just don't see that a whole lot. They were in the Big 12 title game 2 years ago. And so, like, it's just a reminder of how quickly things can turn at a Power 4 school if you just have this big, long run of just not being able to get it done. And so, like, I know we've been prickly about Mike Gundy a lot. Like, he's been prickly about NIL and transfers and everything. It run its course. So
the game passed him all the way by. It was time.
But he'll get another shot. That's the thing. And so,
do you think so?
Yeah, I think he will. Absolutely.
What kind of program do you think he lands at?
I mean,
or does he go the coordinator route first?
No, I don't think he needs to. I think it can be an ACC school, potentially Big Ten.
Really?
I don't know, but he can absolutely get a Power 4 job again. I think so.
I would be very surprised if he jumps right into that. I would be surprised. That's just my
well,
lean.
not jumping into it is one thing, but I think eventually he'll get another chance. It might not be next year, but it could happen. Absolutely. I'm sure he wants to still coach.
I think his next gig is like in the American Athletic Conference. Unless he goes somewhere as a coordinator for a year, and he'll probably end up on
But when's the last time he was a coordinator, though? He's been a head coach for 18 years, man.
I know. I just think the game's passed him by. That's not the route that he's
going to take. He's going to be a head coach.
I think the game's passed him by, and I think every Power 4 athletic director would say the same thing. He's got a lot of friends in the game. He'll probably land somewhere on a sideline within the next month if he wants to be an analyst, right? Like a no responsibilities kind of role with a buddy on their staff kind of thing. By November, he might be able to do that, and then that can kind of soft launch whatever he's looking to do next. But we'll see. I'm a skeptic on Gundy because I just think he's not fit for the NIL era to succeed at that level.
By 2027, he will be a Power 4 head coach again.
How old is he? I know he's a man. He's 40, but whatever.
Well, that was 17-ish years ago. So if you do the math,
so I'm just saying,
he's probably late 50s, something like that. No, he can still do it.
He's
come on.
58.
Yeah,
he's not a young man, but he's got to change though a little bit with the times. Andy,
sure,
I think if it's going to work.
I agree with that. He can't be all that prickly about it the whole way, but you can't just scoff at what he's built at Oklahoma State. Like they were nothing before him. And he brought them back to, well, look, it ran its course, and as it typically does throughout sports,
It's cyclical. It could be cyclical.
It is, but no, it's not. I don't know if he'll succeed at his next stop. I'm not sure about that, but someone will absolutely give him a chance, and I think it's a good chance that it's a Power 4 school.
Okay.
Well, homecoming week here at Mizzou, of course, big festivities there. And a very cool thing Eli Drinkwitz decided to bring out today, the first ever homecoming game back in 1911. Of course, Chester Brewers, Mizzou Tigers, and they played Kansas. They played to a 3-3 tie. Drinkwitz brought out the commemorative game ball from that game more than 100 years ago. It's got like gold on it now and stuff like that. Brought it out before the press conference and showed it off. I thought it was pretty cool.
Yeah, it is cool. I've seen that kind of floating around, and the fact that they still have that ball is pretty awesome. From, gosh, well over 100 years ago, 114 years ago.
Yep.
The only thing that I don't like about it is that when you bring it up, you have to talk about the fact that they tied Kansas in the homecoming game.
Yeah,
the first
there were ties back then. Yeah,
we got to go for it on 4th down. We got to get a touchdown. We got to stop settling for 3. Brewer, what are we doing?
I don't know. I need to talk with their analytics department on what they were doing. What were they thinking? Their analytics department.
They didn't know about the forward pass yet. They just didn't know about it.
Man, if you want to see that photo, it's on our KTGR Sports Twitter account. Go and check it out. In the meantime, the good, the bad, and the ugly from NFL Week 3. We'll give ours coming up at 5:05, and our thoughts on Major League Baseball making it official. ABS system next year. We'll discuss at 5:25.
I'm Nevada Shelke, Exterior Director of Sales with TrueSun Exteriors and Interiors. TrueSun Exteriors is your exclusive preferred LP SmartSide contractor. One of the benefits that comes with our preferred contractor status is we are able to provide extended warranties with the Expert Finish product. We love LP siding because it comes in longer lengths, so that means there's less seams on your home. It has a hail warranty on its substrate up to 1 3/4 of an inch. It is an engineered wood product, so it's much easier to work with and install. LP SmartSide has several pre-finished colors available, as well as pre-finished accessories to complete your siding project.
The difference between a house and a home is the attention to detail. At TrueSun Exteriors and Interiors, we'll turn your vision of a dream home into a reality. For more information or a free estimate, go to TrueSunExteriors.com.
TrueSunExteriors.com. Hey, it's Molly, and it's football season at Billiards. What he said was, our Missouri teams are going to be really good this year.
I did love me an old gift.
That's right. So whether you watch on Saturdays or Sundays, Billiards has the biggest TVs in Columbia.
Have you giving out old H2O?
Whether you're hydrating with H2O or a cold Missouri beer on tap, watch your favorite teams all season at Billiards.
You gotta have to boogie on down.
Billiards! Home Broadway. Now that's high quality.
Everyone has their go-to game day outfit. Maybe it's a comfy black and gold hoodie or that old hat you wear because it still hasn't been to a losing game. Hi, this is Sophie Cunningham, and if you really want to stand out on game day, talk to the team at Betts Jewelers in downtown Columbia. Rock your favorite team's colors with a beautifully designed, one-of-a-kind custom piece of jewelry from Betts Jewelers in downtown Columbia, our hometown jeweler. MIZBETZ.
These beautiful moments begin at Betts. Begin at Betts.
KTGR AM Columbia, KTGR FM Fulton Columbia, K286CL Columbia, in Missouri's total sports station, KTGR.
I'm Christine Lisi. The Giants are making a quarterback change, planning for rookie Jackson Dart to start Sunday against the Chargers as Russell Wilson heads to the bench. In 3 games for 0-3 New York, Wilson's thrown for 778 yards, 3 touchdowns, and 3 interceptions. Unsportsmanlike co-host Chris Canty.
The New York Giants had to put somebody out there, a quarterback that gives this team a chance to be competitive, because it ain't Russell Wilson. So I think they made the only choice that they possibly could, which is turning it over to Jackson Dart, the future for the New York Giants at the quarterback position.
Chris Canty on Freddie and Harry. Dart will be the Giants' 6th different QB to start a game since 2022. Massive blow for 7th-ranked Oklahoma. Quarterback John Mateer will have surgery tomorrow on a broken bone in his throwing hand. Timeline for recovery, about a month. Oklahoma State fired coach Mike Gundy. Cowboys have lost 11 of 12. Gundy's buyout, $15 million. OC Doug Meacham is interim coach. Robot umpires approved for use in Major League Baseball in 2026. Human umps will still call balls and strikes, but teams can challenge 2 calls per game.
ESPN Radio is presented by Progressive Insurance. If you're a renter, make sure you're protected. Renter's insurance includes options that cover stolen property, personal injury, and living expenses if your place is damaged. Quote renter's insurance at progressive.com.
From Faro.
15 to the 10, to the house.
Bush.
Back to the wall. And it's got her.
And Arrowhead.
Touchdown. Kansas City.
To your speakers.
This is the big show, baby.
Get fresh takes on the biggest sports stories in mid-Missouri. Right now, this is The Big Show with Andy and Brenden on KTGR.
Second hour here on The Big Show. You can call or text us at 875-KTGR. You can see us right now on YouTube at KTGR Sports. So we talk some NFL, good, bad, and ugly here over the next 20-ish minutes or so after the top 5 at 5. Call or text us with yours at 875-KTGR. We'll also talk about Major League Baseball going to the automated balls and strikes system, the challenge system, if you will. Tried it out in spring training this year, and now they're going to make it official for all of next year and moving forward. What do you think about it? Give us your opinions at 525, 875-KTGR here on The Big Show. But first, it's 5 o'clock.
It's time for the top 5 at 5 on The Big Show. Number 1.
If you want to trade away for curtain number 1, you can have curtain 1.
It was interesting to hear Eli Drinkwitz sort of reliving some of the notable spots from the South Carolina game. He talked a lot about the kicking stuff. We went through a lot of it earlier on the show today. It was interesting to know that, yeah, when they sent out Robert Meyer for that 40-yard field goal, technically it was supposed to be Oliver Robbins in the way that they had planned it pregame, but just the way things worked out, they felt like it wouldn't be best to have Robbins try his first kick in college at Mizzou in a spot like that where the game was basically on the line. I love that it was Robert Meyer. I love that he nailed it, and I think it's going to build confidence for him moving forward. Drink also talked a lot in his presser about some of the secondary breakdowns and miscommunications. Maybe some time to get into more of that stuff later today, but hopefully it's something they can fix. That's the end-all, be-all for that conversation.
Number 2, your timing is impeccable.
Some Mizzou-adjacent news here. John Mateer needs surgery on his hand, and he'll be out a period of time for the Oklahoma Sooners. I believe it's his right throwing hand that needs a procedure, which could leave Mateer out of action for a while. Red River would certainly seem to be in question, though I would imagine, if they're saying that he's going to return this year, it's certainly something they expect to be fully healed up by the time Mizzou heads to Norman in late November. No word yet, though, on whether this was the parlay clicking related injury for John Mateer. I'll try to find that out.
Number 3.
With everything that happened in the weekend, we weren't able to spend a ton of time on it yesterday after the weekend, but Mizzou did in basketball land 4-star wing Aiden Chronister into the class of 2026, as Dennis Gates' recruiting class is firmly now number 1 in the country at this point in the proceedings. 5 stars Jason Crow Jr. and Tony Bryant already verbally committed. Mizzou may not end up with the top spot in the country because, frankly, they may not need as large of a class as they had a couple of years ago with those 5 4-stars, and sometimes quantity is rewarded more in the rankings than quality, but there is no doubt Dennis Gates is getting his guys to build it his way at Mizzou.
Number 4.
Oh, shanked it.
ABS challenge system will be implemented for 2026 in Major League Baseball, and thank goodness for that. It's something that clearly worked in spring training. It's worked throughout the minors, and all the reasons that you could talk about kind of nitpicking against it, I think were very, very flimsy when it all boiled down. So I like that before this season's even over, MLB is saying, yes, we will have the ability to challenge calls on balls and strikes next season. Let the helmet tapping begin.
Number 5.
What is the 5 fingers? Say to the face. Slap.
Mike Gundy is fired. Andy's already trying to give him a Big Ten job. I'm not sure about that. But you know who else was fired? Russell Wilson. That's right. If you lose to the Chiefs in 2025, you lose your job. That is the state of the Kansas City
That's
Chiefs.
The Big Show's top 5 at 5 on KTGR.
Call or text us here at 875-KTGR. Well, I guess that's one way to do it. It should have happened. Well, it couldn't have happened after the Cowboys game because he threw for 450 yards. But either way,
everybody's going to do that to the Cowboys this year. Do you see Caleb Williams this weekend? He's good. We'll talk about it. But I'm just saying.
I understand. A couple things. Well, first of all, there's already a Big Ten job open, by the way, UCLA. That's open.
Well, he cannot be worse than Foster, so I guess that would be an upgrade.
Virginia Tech's open now. There's already a couple, and there will be probably a few more. So, I think Mike Gundy will be a leading candidate for a lot of those jobs. Not to say that he's anybody's number one, but he will be in the mix for several of those. So we'll see. Pete Thamel of ESPN gave a little bit more on the John Mateer situation. He says that he suffered it in the first quarter against Auburn on Saturday. He's going to have the surgery tomorrow. The estimated timeline after surgery is expected to be about a month, as the surgery is considered straightforward.
I mean, a month, though, means he won't. I mean, a month is tomorrow is having the surgery. I believe that's what they said.
Yes.
If that's the case, you're talking about late October, and Red River is the 11th. So he'll miss that game in the week after if that timeline holds.
Yeah, he's going to have the surgery in Los Angeles. Dr. Stephen Shin will perform the surgery. He's considered one of the country's leading hand and wrist surgeons. He's worked on Drew Brees, Steph Curry, and Mike Trout. And so, yeah, I again, think Mizzou fans should still expect to see John Mateer quarterback on November 22nd.
100%. Yes.
Will OU be the type of team that we have seen them through 4 games by that point? Is that as valuable of a win by that point for Mizzou by the time they are playing it? That could be an interesting question.
I don't know. I mean, I think the Oklahoma game is still going to end up being a game that Mizzou, I think Oklahoma's favored at home in that game.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. It'll just be interesting how if what Mizzou's ranking is. I don't know if Oklahoma will probably have a ranking next to their name still by that point. But again, they would have gone through a lot of their meat grinder, right?
I mean, but Mizzou also has had some of they will have had at Auburn and at Vanderbilt. They'll have had Texas A&M at home. I mean, Mizzou's meat grinder is still coming too.
Sure.
That's what's weird about all this is we didn't view it that way. Although we kind of did. I think we always talked about it. And you and I always said this 6 home game thing to start the season is not an inherent benefit to Mizzou.
No.
There are positives to it, but it's not in the grand scheme this the SEC really did them a favor. Not really, because it means that you inevitably have to go to road environments on the back half of your schedule.
We'll see what it looks like in the actual time that game comes about. But again, John Mateer, according to Pete Thamel of ESPN, expected to miss about a month with that hand surgery. All right, let's get to what was good, bad, and ugly in week 3. Here on the Big Show, KTGR on the KTGR app. Tell us your good, your bad, and your downright ugly from week 3 of NFL football with a call or a text at 875-KTGR. The Chiefs were blank.
Can you remember that thing you said last week? You went on a speech about you can win ugly.
Yeah.
Can I give him that? Can I call him an ugly winner?
Sunday?
Yeah,
you can call him that. I don't mind.
Because the Giants with Russell Wilson, they weren't gonna. Chiefs have a good defense. I don't really have a lot to say about the Chiefs defense. They did what they had to do and they were good. But the offense and the vibes surrounding the offense to me are still kind of ugly. Outside of Tyquan Thornton, that was a revelation. Tyquan, run fast, Mahomes, I'll throw it to you, and we're going to connect more often than not. And that's a good thing to keep in your back pocket, especially as the season goes along and he can return to being an ancillary option behind Worthy and Rashee Rice. But otherwise, the vibes are still ugly for me. So good win because you had to get the first win. But can I say that the vibes are still uglier than I want? And now you're going into a week, Andy, where you're 1-2, the Ravens are 1-2. Somebody in the AFC, one of the 3 best teams in the AFC, as we generally know this conference to look, is falling to 1-3 next weekend. That's a fact, unless they tie. But I mean, that's tough. They're not going to tie. I'm going to tell you right now, hot take, they're not going to tie. So somebody's going to be 1-3. It might be the Chiefs.
It might be.
Vibes. Ugly
I mean,
vibes.
They're so close to what the Ravens are. You can call the Ravens similarly ugly vibes, right? Especially after that type of loss. Let's say this. Chiefs have not lost the way that the Ravens have lost, by losing leads and just not having the closing ability that you would expect out of players like that. So I actually, look, the Chiefs have played both of those teams, in fact, their losses have come against good teams. Would you agree? Chargers, Eagles for the Chiefs, like those are both playoff teams, we think. Bills and Lions for the Rays, like those are good teams. And so I think it's very similar situations there. Like I'm not going to argue with you saying that the win was ugly. Yeah, it was kind of hard to watch. Eventually they got things going in the second half, but did it really take you a whole half of football to figure out how to consistently move the football and then finish in the red zone like you did against the Giants eventually there? Like, you do need to get out to faster starts and not have to rely upon your comeback ability in several of these games, because better teams will have more points on their ledger that you'll have to overcome if you keep doing that. I will say this, though. They took away Malik Neighbors. They said this week, did. Like he couldn't take him away. They took him away. 2 catches, 13 yards. Like,
yep, he was a ghost out there, and that might be part of the reason. Like, if you're Russell Wilson, if you can't find Malik Neighbors and just find a way to connect, let's get somebody in here who can. Like, credit the Chiefs. That was, like I said, their defense is good. Their defense is still playing at a very high level. The offense is just kind of, it's like that car that just still needs a tune-up. You got to tighten a lug nut over here. You got to do a few things, and then it'll be running smooth, I think, at some point, but it's not there yet. And again, the Ravens are a good team. We would count them as a playoff team every year. Well, I don't know what the stats are about starting 1-3, Andy, but I think whichever team loses this game probably still sneaks into the playoffs as a wild card in the AFC, which is probably against historical trends, I would guess. I don't know them offhand, but like we still view both these teams as probably 2 very good teams. The problem with the Ravens is, like, when I look at the Chiefs, it's the offense that's the problem, and I know how to fix it. It's get those 2 top wide receivers back. It may be that simple. Maybe there's more under the hood. The running game is an issue. Isaiah Pacheco, bad at football. Some of the clips I see of him, he just doesn't even look like he belongs out there sometimes. He is just, it's just not good.
He had 4.5 yards a carry. That's not bad. It's average.
I'm talking about, I saw some clips on Twitter of him trying to pass block, and oh my gosh, just like and the fumble, the play that was ruled a backward pass fumble of him just running backwards, like he ran the wrong direction on the route.
Yeah.
He does some stuff that just boggles your mind of like, what's going up there in your coconut, Isaiah Pacheco. But how do the Ravens fix having just an awful defense that looks disinterested in playing football? Because that's, to me, almost as ugly as what's going on for the Chiefs offensively. Clips of like Roquan Smith, just absolute disinterest in what's going on for a lot of those guys who you hear their names called, and you go, great player on defense. Right now, that unit is not performing, and I get it, have allowed 2 of the league's most explosive offenses to beat them in the Bills and the Lions, but that there's still, it's a reflection on you at some point, and I think the Ravens are at that point. Don't be shocked if the Chiefs offense finds itself against this Ravens defense, because the Ravens right now they're all out of sorts on that side of the ball.
Call or text us with your good and bad and ugly from NFL Week 3. 875-KTGR here on The Big Show. Let's go to Quentin here on the KTGR hotline. Quentin, how are you?
Doing good.
What was your good this weekend?
Well, I have a couple of good ones. The Sunday's game with the Dallas and Chicago, that was my 900th football game.
Hey, how about that? Well done, sir. And Luther Burden scored for you. How about that? Luther Burden scoring for you in that game? How about that?
Hey, I love that.
Big time. What was your bad?
I say the second good would have to be San Francisco 49ers.
Oh, yeah. Look, still getting wins, right? However, they're on the backups on pretty much both sides of the football now, like overcoming all kinds of injuries. So, yeah, at least that's good. What was the bad?
How about the Los Angeles Rams?
Oh, man. It was looking pretty good up until the big paw got lifted up and that blocked kick all of a sudden. What was the ugly?
The Cincinnati Bengals and the second ugly. How about next week's Monday night game with the Jets and Dolphins? I think that's going to be an ugly game. Both teams 0-3.
Oh, this weekend? Oh, yeah.
He's anticipating.
At least there's a second one. At least it's a doubleheader. You don't have to pay all that much attention to it. But we'll see. Appreciate the call, Quentin. You're on The Big Show, KTGR and the KTGR app.
Yeah, the Rams, I even made a comment to somebody mid-game. I was at Busch Stadium, so I wasn't really locked in, but I'm like, Rams are going to beat the Eagles. And sure enough, like the Eagles, like we talked about it yesterday, have a little bit of that Chiefs thing going on where you think they're out of a game and they're then they realize, oh, we have Jalen Hurts and he can do a lot of different things to hurt you. But man, I mean, the Jordan Davis return for touchdown flips the point spread on that game. By the way, if you had a bet on the Rams, I'm so terribly sorry. First of all, what were you thinking? Secondly, very sorry that happened to you, because that's about as bad of a bad beat as you're going to find. Because really, a lot of times they tell you to go down, just slide, and the game's over. Especially when you're a big defensive tackle, that probably doesn't have a lot of experience with the ball in your hands. But it worked out. Like, I really do wonder what Sirianni was thinking. Like, he looked excited down the sideline, but I wonder what he was thinking of, like, maybe just slide, and let's get the win here, brother. But he doesn't get to score many touchdowns, so that was a really cool moment. And I'm glad, by the way. And just like last night, Jared Goff said he was telling David Montgomery to go down and not score. And then in the postgame, Goff was like, actually, it's probably fine that he scored. We may have jumped the shark a little bit too much on the don't score thing. Like, a lot of times,
well,
it's
in
very
that situation,
much
I think it was good to score, right? Yeah,
there was too much time left.
Yeah.
Like I don't think they could have killed the entire clock out with kneel downs. Ravens had timeouts, so it's one of those where, like, I think we've conditioned ourselves almost to be like, I am a brainy football fan, and I know that you're not supposed to score. And it's like, shut up and score the touchdown and do a celebration. Like, it's football. Come on.
Oh, man, 875-KTGR. Call or text us with your good and bad and ugly. Let's go back out to the KTGR hotline. Hello, who's this?
It's Matt.
Matt, you have a good, bad, and ugly for us from the NFL weekend?
Yes, they both go together. Big Giants fan.
Oh,
the Giants played terribly, but it's good because they played so terribly that Jackson Dart is now going to be the quarterback.
Silver linings. The future is here. The future is now. Appreciate the call, Matt, here on the Big Show, KTGR. I mean, yeah, we'll see what Jackson Dart's got in the tank. I'm excited to see it. I don't think we'll see it very, very successfully for him over the next few weeks, but this is kind of what it's about. Test the waters and see if he can get it done. But of course, Brian Daboll needs to win games. That's the other side of it.
He does. I can't believe. Can I just say I don't think it was smart to sign Russell Wilson? There's no reason to do it. They signed Jameis Winston for like a couple million. That's the guy you start for 4 games before ushering in your rookie quarterback that you're planning to bring in. Russell Wilson made like $20 million. I mean, for 1 year, crazy. They should have let Jameis sling it around a little bit and had fun, and it would have been vibes. They still would have lost games. They still would have lost to the Chiefs, but it would have been at least more fun, and you wouldn't have wasted $18 or $20 million.
We sure they would have lost to the Chiefs if Jameis Winston were playing that game, actually?
I was trying to be reasonable. No, Jameis Winston is awesome. The fact that he's not starting is a crime against fantasy football, frankly. I mean, it's just we need Jameis Winston. We need him. I mean, do you imagine Jameis Winston, Malik Neighbors? Malik Neighbors would not finish with 13 yards if Jameis Winston were the quarterback. You get 20 targets.
Man, here's what I'll do. I have 3 goods that I was not expecting to have if you had asked me a week ago.
Okay.
The Colts. The Colts look good, man. Like,
they're real.
I know
they're a wild card team at least.
I know it's just the Titans, but look, you go on the road and you win by 21, and
they're going to play a bad schedule. They're going to play, a schedule that is against some more bottom feeder type of teams because they weren't very good last year.
Yeah. Seahawks also, I think, very good.
So that one, they beat the Saints this weekend.
They beat the Saints.
Right? Let's simmer down a little bit on that one for me.
But what was your concern about going in? I was concerned that it wouldn't translate for Sam Darnold. And look, didn't throw a ton, but I mean, 14 of 18, 218 yards, 2 touchdowns. Like, that's what if I get that from Sam Darnold every game, I know how to win. Right. I know how to win.
Yeah, I thought that we could see Jalen Milroe this year, and I don't think that's going to happen. So I guess that's a fair point. Like, it's just, I want to see it against some better competition. The Saints are good. They're going to be really bad. The 49ers beat the Seahawks, only 13 points against the Niners at home in the first game. They pummeled the Steelers. The Steelers are having some issues defensively as well so far this season. They play the Cardinals. It's going to be an ugly Thursday night game if I had to guess this week. All those NFC West, they should never put the NFC West on Thursday night. I just think it's a bad omen. But there's going to be some tougher games coming for Seattle. They could eke out 10 wins though in the schedule. Which, to your point, that's probably all you're trying to do. When you pay for a quarterback of Sam Darnold's caliber and you pay him a lot of money, you say our goal with this is to try to be the bridge and win while you're the bridge. Like, we don't have to rebuild and be the Saints and just not address quarterback in a meaningful way. Let's spend some money and try to win some football games because we have talented players. Ken Walker's a really good running back. Jackson Smith-Njigba is a very good wide receiver. It's like they have an offense, they have a defense that clearly is playing as the unit. They've always done a good job of identifying like the next level of talent for defense and bringing guys in and keeping that thing moving. So, yeah, you're right. The Seahawks are in the good. It feels like if you aren't beating the Saints by 30 this year, what are you doing? You know?
It's fair, especially when you're at home. But the other one is, I'll say it. I'll say that they were good. Chicago Bears were good. They're good on that Sunday. Caleb
Luther
Williams
Burden was good.
Luther Burden, Rome Odunze, like
Odunze's a player. He's their best receiver.
Looked pretty good. You know?
DJ Moore is going to be phased out, and Luther Burden's going to be phased in. I'm just telling you. Odunze and Luther are going to be that 1-2 punch.
I'm ready for it.
It won't be long.
There. What was your best good, though, from the weekend?
Oh, the best of the weekend. Man, it's got to be the Lions. I know that we kind of used it a little bit as fodder against the Ravens, and it's true. Like, their defense has got problems. But when you think about the revival, like, try to go back to Monday morning quarterbacking after week 1 and going, are the Lions cooked? They couldn't move the ball against the Packers. And like this was an outdoor game, right? We used to think only could play good in a dome, Jared Goff. This is a game at Baltimore in not the elements. I think it was a nice weather night, but it was an outdoor game, not in the comforts of a dome. And the Lions offense looked like the Lions offense that we've come to know over the last year and a half or so. Like, it's just what it is. And if you watch week 1, you counted them out prematurely. Now I don't think they're really going to even take a step back this year, maybe at all, compared to last year. The competition is stiffer. Like, the Packers are better, and so you pick up a loss there that you wouldn't have had last year, but they're still going to be one of the top teams in an NFC that now is starting to come into shape. Like, we know the Lions are still there. The Eagles are still there. The Packers are going to be there. We've probably got to put them in the ugly. Why you can't lose to the Browns? I get the Browns have a nice little defense, but if you're the Packers, the way that we had kind of anointed you, you blow a 10-0 lead, I think it was, to lose 13-10. Like, that's ugly, man.
Here's the thing. It's going to happen to every team this year.
I know. We said it. The Browns are going to pick
Browns will do
4 or 5 teams.
And by the way, the Giants will do the same thing. Like, there will be at least 4 teams that are thinking, how did we lose to the Giants?
Maybe if Dart, it's going to be more about Dart, if that's true, because I don't think the Giants' defense is quite as good as Cleveland's. Cleveland is going to do it. Because every team that comes in playing the Cleveland Browns is like, that's our automatic W.
Right.
And 6 of them are going to be wrong.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They're going to go 6-11, and it's going to be the most ugly 6-11 you've ever seen. But there'll be some moments like Sunday where you beat a team that could end up winning the Super Bowl. Like, I'm not counting the Packers out after that game, but they definitely need to figure out the offense and like decide who you're going to on offense. They got all these receivers. I know you've got some injuries, but like, are you going to trust Matthew Golden or not? Is it Romeo Doubs? Is it, decide what it is and who it is. I know they're without Tucker Kraft for a bit, or maybe he did end up playing. It's kind of weird. I don't think it was 100%. They just got to figure out offensively who they want to be. That was a weird identity game. The Browns really did a lot to kind of slow them down.
Let's go out to the KTGR hotline again. Give us your good, bad, and ugly from NFL Week 3. Hello, who's this?
This is Seamus from Columbia.
Seamus, what's your good, bad, and ugly?
So good is Josh Simmons going up against what is one of a better pass rush unit and holding up fairly well by and large.
Yeah, that matters.
Bad would be Bo Nix missing on all these deep shots to his receivers because those did not look pretty. And the absolute worst thing is Russell Wilson. The man is cooked. I get why he was there when you signed him in the offseason because you weren't sure if you were getting Dart. But, man, that guy has got to go.
Yeah, I think that's going to happen soon. Appreciate the call, Seamus, here on the Big Show, KTGR. Here's the thing, Brenden, like, Broncos lost that game. I know it's to the Chargers. The Chargers are looking like, at least for now, the best team in that division.
Yep.
But everyone said the Broncos were going to be like the surprise team this year. They were going to be so good. Everyone was saying this, like, well,
I'm pretty sure I was on the Chargers more than
I'm not
Broncos.
saying it's you. I'm just saying
All
I
right.
heard a lot of this Broncos talk, and look, they have the same record as the Chiefs that everyone says is washed. Like, what are we doing here?
I think you didn't like the Chargers or the Broncos necessarily. I think you were a big Chiefs guy that was kind of thinking,
saying pick a lane for folks who were trying to forecast the Chiefs' downfall. Like, pick a way. Who is going to rise up? And no one really had a clear answer.
And like, I didn't have a super degree of confidence that it would be the Chargers, but of the two, that was my lean. I just thought the Chiefs would take a step back, and so far that's been true, but long season, long way to go.
We'll see. Get to some text here, 875-KTGR. Shane says, the good is the Chicago Bears offense, the bad is the Baltimore Ravens defense, and the ugly was the first half of Chiefs-Giants. Yeah, that was a very bad.
It was really bad.
Yeah.
I think, was it Gabe DeArmond that posted with Power Mizzou?
Yeah, it was.
No longer the worst football game I've ever seen, and he referenced the 9-6 Mizzou win over UConn.
Oh, that was so putrid.
From a decade ago or whatever that was, 11 years ago.
I remember exactly where I was for that, and I don't want to remember where exactly I was.
I remember walking out of the student sections in the stadium that day going, what did we just watch? Like, not any one part of that game was fun. And yeah, Giants Chiefs Sunday night kind of felt like that in the first half or so.
David texting in, ugly, the Texans and every Houston sports team besides the Rice Owls.
The CJ Stroud might, I don't know what, I don't know what's going on.
Look, it's that, but it's got to protect a man like that. That's
the line's still bad. The line is still bad.
Awful. And they thought, like, okay, yeah, we'll trade away Laramie Tunsil, and it'll create a better culture for that. Oh, okay, sure. Still can't block anybody.
Better culture, less talent.
Yeah, exactly. It just means you got a bunch of rookies that are still trying to figure out this game at this level. Like, come on, what are we doing? Yeah, 0-3.
I want to call Commanders more good than Raiders bad.
Yeah,
Marcus Mariota played well, got the win there for Washington, which. Like, we were kind of doubting Washington, even with Jaden Daniels healthy. That was a game that could have been a lot closer, and the Commanders just really took control of it, commanded it, if you will. Bad, I'm going to say, how do we approach this Falcons-Panthers thing? Like, Panthers 30-0, 30-love, really, you could say, based on that.
Penix benched.
He was terrible. Yeah. I mean, he was awful. I was playing against him in a fantasy league. It was lovely. I was like, I don't have to fear anything. Cousins is in the game now. Like, Penix is not going to score any points. I think it's more bad for the Falcons offense than credit to the Panthers defense.
Yeah.
Like, clearly the Panthers defense did some really good things, and offensively they put up 30 points. But that Falcons offense was supposed to be ascending under Penix, and it is not. It's stuck in neutral. And it's largely like the signs were there when they won that game over Minnesota, and all they wanted to do was run the ball. It's like, yeah, all they had to do was run the ball because they played pretty good defense that night against McCarthy. But dude, I don't know, man. Is Penix? We'll see. I'm gonna try to avoid, because last week
you can still count on one hand or two hands, I guess, the number of NFL starts he's had. So
I know he's played very minimally. I buried Caleb Williams last week. I should have looked at the schedule and known he was playing the Cowboys, so that was not going to age well as a take to bury Caleb Williams. So I'm not going to necessarily do it against Penix because, frankly, I don't know who the Falcons play next week. But concerning to see that against the Panthers, who are not really supposed to be able to do that to you.
Falcons play the Commanders at home.
That's a tough one. I mean, that's another game that they're going to. Yeah. Penix has got to play better. They're not going to come within 10 points.
875-KTGR. Call or text us with your good and bad and downright ugly from NFL Week 3. We'll give our thoughts next on the ABS Challenge System coming to Major League Baseball next year. How do you feel about it? Give us your comments right here on The Big Show, KTGR.
Follow The Big Show on Facebook, X, Instagram, and YouTube. And keep it here on your total sports station, KTGR.
Hi, everyone. Andy Humphrey here for ProfitShares.com. If your fantasy team is already off to an 0-3 start, hey, I'm not judging. I've been there. I've got several teams like that right now. And if you're looking for a way to stay engaged with your football knowledge all season long, well, you can hop in right now to ProfitShares.com. That's PROPHET shares.com. Totally free to play. You just enter into a weekly contest, the Profit Picks contest each and every week for pro football and college football, several other sports that you can show off your knowledge in too. Just enter into those weekly contests. They give you an amount of online credits to use to enter in. And the more you get things right, the more credits you can then build up and redeem them for gift cards to Amazon or Chick-fil-A or several other restaurants. Or you can make charitable donations to your favorite causes. Look, fantasy season's tough. If it's not going your way, just go to ProfitShares.com. That's PROPHET shares.com.
Hi, I'm Tristan Colon, Mizzou grad and 6-year NFL veteran.
I'm Charlie Stickland.
And I'm Sarah Stickland McDonald of the Stickland & Stickland Injury Law Firm.
In football, home field advantage can make all the difference.
The same is true when choosing your injury lawyer.
We're locals. We know the courts, we know the towns, we know the people.
Just as I protect my team on the field.
Our family will protect your family.
When sorry just doesn't cut it.
Push back with Stickland & Stickland.
Buckeye is your fall savings destination. Find unbeatable prices on everything farm, ranch, auto, home, pet, and outdoor living. Join the free Buckeye Buyers Club and get even more savings on every purchase, now through the end of the year. Stock up for the season and save big at Buckeye. Not a Buckeye Buyers Club member? Sign up free at buckeyes.com.
From Branson Landing to the Capitol Dome, Union Station to the Tigers' home. Big old service is Missouri's best. Our trusted team outpaces the rest. Show me safe coverage wherever you go. We've got you covered at Big O.
College football is all about the next generation. Fresh talent, big plays, new energy every season. That's the same approach behind Flight by Yingling. It's brewed by the oldest brewery in America, but built for today. Just 2.6 carbs and 95 calories with real beer flavor that keeps up from kickoff to the post-game recap. So whether you're tailgating or celebrating a win, make Flight your go-to. Flight by Yingling, the next generation of light beer. DG Yingling & Son, Pottsville, Pennsylvania.
The warm scent of maple spiced coffee fills the air. And is that a hint of Caribbean rum? That must be Caldy's Coffee Highlander Grog Brewing, our decadent maple spiced blend that's won fans nationwide. Loved for how it smells and for how it makes you feel. Each cup brings back the comfort of a classic coffee morning. Cozy, nostalgic, maple spiced coffee. Shop Caldy'sCoffee.com for your bag today. Also available in pods.
Tired of calling Andy and Brenden? So are their wives. Then shoot them a text right now. 573-875-KTGR and become part of the Big Show.
Well, a lot that you could call good and bad and ugly from this past weekend of NFL football, and you can tell us what you thought was good, bad, and ugly here on the Big Show, KTGR with Andy and Brenden. As we roll along here, 875-KTGR to call or text us. You can also comment on our YouTube channel where we are live right now. Let's also, though, get to the news in Major League Baseball today. Brenden, the ABS system is going to be official this upcoming 2026 season. The league's competition committee voted Tuesday to usher in the era of, technically robots will be assisting with calls of balls and strikes. It's not
robot umpires. It's
fully
not, that's
robot
not the way
umpiring.
to frame it.
Yeah, it's
no.
It's you can ask the robot if the human umpire was correct or incorrect or whatever.
And you can do it 2 times per game, but you can continue to do it if you're successful. So that is where, there's going to come a moment, and it's going to be delicious, where an umpire is just getting it wrong, and those managers keep hammering the challenge system. Obviously, it's not the managers, it's the players. But the players will be able to do that, and then that's accountability. Like, that is the main thing that we're getting from this, is accountability for the umpires, that previously, not only could you not question their call on ball or strike, if you did the thing that is the way that they're now going to ask for help and ask for a challenge, if you tap the helmet this year, you get ejected because they're considering that unsportsmanlike toward the umpires. So, it is a completely upside down way that they treat it in allowing these umpires to just have complete free run. And now they're not going to have that anymore. And I think that is inherently going to make the game better. And if you've ever seen it in a minor league game, it really does. It moves pretty quick. So it's not really a pace of play concern. I think it's, as far as I am aware, accurate. That's obviously a question the players had, and something that Rob Manfred talked about of okay, if players are hearing that there's a margin for error, which is probably a bad way to put it, but statistics, that's the type of language that you use when it comes to these sorts of matters. But players are going to go, what do you mean margin for errors? They're going to get it wrong. It's like, okay, it's going to be so much better, and it's going to be pretty much accurate relative to, where the strike zone's supposed to be. It's going to be catered to each player's, kind of height as well. Like that's sort of a part of it too, based on like a percentage of their whatever is the measurement. And so, I think it's going to be pretty good. And we'll have, I think, far fewer of those just bozo complaints about umpires ruining games. You won't have that with balls and strikes to the same extent. Like, use your challenge, use it judiciously, know that like you only get 2 as a team. Players have to understand, like, I don't need to be selfish if this one's kind of borderline, but if a guy missed one, or will teams make a rule to say, hey, in here in the Baltimore Orioles organization, we wait till the 7th inning. Like, it'll be very interesting to see, what teams do and how they police that within themselves. But largely, it's going to be an overwhelming positive because, umpires largely do a pretty good job, but sometimes they do a very bad job, and there should be a little bit of ability to correct that when that's the case.
And hopefully, like the main things I want answered, like that I'm most fascinated about, the 2 real aspects of it is, okay, so now how do umpires get evaluated? Because there was reporting, and I believe Jeff Passan was a big part of it at ESPN, of how they go through their evaluation process of umpires when they call balls and strikes, and how they actually get a good amount of margin for error, like maybe an inch one way or the other on the strike zone, and that's what they're evaluated on. Like, if you're within that range, then okay, yeah, you're calling this correctly.
They're only killing them on egregious misses, right? Is basically
exactly
what you're saying.
So if you're not missing completely, then you're doing just all right, enough to keep your job and things like that. So I wonder now, does that then change? Like, does the umpires union now say, okay, well, you can be called out by a player or a catcher or a hitter on these types of calls for what the strike zone actually is, not the template that we use, which is a little bit more lenient,
a little more forgiving. Yeah.
What it actually is that how we're now going to evaluate umpires? I would hope so. I don't think we'll ever know, but that would at least be my hope.
Yeah. I mean, I also am okay with an idea where the umpires are evaluated on the bad misses.
Yeah.
Because it's like, let's understand that it's a very difficult job. And if it ain't going to be these guys, who's it going to be? Remember the NFL replacement refs? Like that was
not a great thing.
So like, that's why there is a union for these things. That's why, that's why these guys are probably the best in the world that do it. And so while you need accountability for that, I think this, rather than be like punitive on umpires, is going to be more, hey, we get that it's a difficult job, and it's a better game when we as players or as fans or as coaches, managers aren't, livid with you for something that was a mistake, a human mistake that you made in a job where you, in theory, I'm going to give umpires the benefit of the doubt, are trying to do your best to serve the game, rather than I'm going to hold a grudge against a particular player. Like, hopefully there's nothing like that. Like, will we see, once umpires know that a player got one wrong and maybe their team's out of challenges, the next time it rolls around, does that player get, there could be stuff like this. Like, this is unknown territory.
Yeah.
But largely, I think it's going to be we can all be adults here and understand that this ain't personal. This is like, we cannot have egregious calls ruining the sanctity of a baseball game. Whereas before, that could happen and there was no recourse, nothing you could do.
And that's why I think, look, we will take away most of those situations where an umpire is throwing out somebody who was upset about balls and strikes, and we think that was a very short fuse type of situation. We won't see that as often, but we might still see some of it if a team is out of challenges and someone is arguing about balls and strikes when they don't have challenges anymore. And then there will be that type of aspect still, I think, when the umpire says, yeah, I'm right.
Does the public sentiment at that point kind of go, you shouldn't have been wrong about your challenges twice as a team? Like, I almost think there may be more people that side with the umpires at that point. Like, yo, this is what everybody asks for. You get your opportunity. Don't be flippant with it. Don't be dumb with it. So that later in a game, if there's one that gets missed, you've got to, as a team, there has to be a rule. Like, you might kind of play it a little more fast and loose with the first one. You cannot be wrong with the second one. Like, there's got to be an understanding that if you are, you don't challenge again. And, like, that's not the way a Major League clubhouse works. That's like high school baseball coach talk or college. These pros, man, I've been around them. That's not going to fly. So, like, having the buy-in that they need on that is going to be important. And I just think at that point, if you bungle the challenge stuff, will you have one teammate mad at another teammate because we're out of a challenge? But clearly I just got jobbed and you thought you got jobbed, but you were just being selfish. Like, it's going to be very interesting. Maybe that's part of a reason where there was some reporting that players weren't all unanimous on having this.
Because some of them are maybe not as confident about their ability to really see the strike zone.
But that's not a great reason to me. If you're not confident about your ability, guess what you shouldn't do? Challenge. Just don't. It's not a problem.
Yeah.
But doing it when you think you know it and another guy doesn't, like, that's not probably something that would get reported because nobody's going to say that about their teammate. You know what I mean? But, like, is that the undercurrent? There are unintended consequences of this that we haven't yet come to understand, and I can't wait to see what they are. But I'm glad they're doing this. I think it's necessary. I think it's a great step.
By the way, we're absolutely keeping stats on this now, right? Like, we're going to keep stats on who's right,
guarantee it.
Who's wrong the most and all that.
If we don't, teams will. I mean, they're going to have that. That's going to be another analytic.
Who there should be an award for who is the most right. Like 100% challenge percentage on all of that. They should get some sort of, like, not a gold glove. What do we call that? What do we call that award?
I think it's hard to do because the guy who does it the most, who challenges it the most in a season, how many times does he really like, I don't know, 7 times? Like, I don't think it per player is gonna happen a lot.
There's a threshold you got to meet, like batting average. You got to have a certain number of plate appearances.
He's a qualifier. He's a qualifier.
Yeah, right. He qualifies for the challenge award.
Maybe I'm guessing low. I should look if there's like minor league numbers on this. I just feel like it'll be interesting to see over the course of time which guys are more apt to challenge regularly and which ones don't. And it makes it very interesting that you can't use it as a manager. What if the batters on your team are bungling it and then you're a pitcher getting jobbed and you're like, why did you guys use the challenge? I need it as a pitcher when, because I'm throwing every pitch. Any pitch that I throw could be challenged. Y'all are just one batter per, opportunity. There's a lot that could be unpacked with all this that I'm excited for.
It's fascinating. How do you feel about the ABS challenge system coming to Major League Baseball next year? Won't be fully robot umpires, but players can now challenge whether they think pitch is a ball or strike, and they can use the video replay system to check for sure. Call or text us at 875-KTGR. So Eli Drinkwitz was asked about the annual opponents that his team is set to have for the next 4 years. And, well, you'll hear his response to that as we get closer to the official less than 20 minutes away from the official announcement, it would seem, of the full
Do we care?
rotation.
We don't care.
Well,
we know what the announcement is.
We know what the annuals will be, but I think they'll also announce
the other 6.
The other 6.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, they'll announce that
is
too.
a big deal.
So we'll get to that, and Eli Drinkwitz's response to it after his press conference today after this live local sports center.
Now, your local sports center update on your total sports station, KTGR.
Good afternoon. I'm Andy Humphrey. This Sports Center update is with Lee's Tire Company. If it's round and rubber, Lee's sells it. Go to leestirecompany.com. Again, the SEC will announce that full 4-year rotation of opponents for all SEC teams, starting with next season as they move to a 9-game conference schedule. The multiple reports from yesterday already leaked the annual opponents that each team will have over that 4-year period. Mizzou's 3 annual opponents: Oklahoma, Texas A&M, and Arkansas. Again, SEC Network is going to start airing a special at 6 o'clock to reveal that full rotation of opponents in about 15 minutes. Meanwhile, Cardinals won yesterday over the Giants 6-5 in their first game of their final road trip of the regular season. Ivan Herrera with a 2-run homer and a 4-run 5th inning for the Cardinals to help them take the lead, and they kept it for good. Jojo Romero getting the save. Cardinals 3 games under 500. You can hear on KTGR tonight the second game of their 3-game set in San Francisco. First pitch at 8:45. That's coming right after Tiger Talk at 7 p.m. And the Royals, after an off day yesterday, take on the LA Angels on the road to begin their final road trip. Cole Reagan's on the hill for KC. First pitch just after 8:30. Now your ABC 17 Storm Track forecast.
I'm ABC 17 Storm Track Chief Meteorologist Jessica Hafner. I'm still tracking scattered showers and a few rumbles of thunder tonight. We'll drop down to about 64. We'll likely see some fog tomorrow morning with spotty showers and a few storms heading throughout the afternoon. Temperatures remain in the lower 70s. By tomorrow night, we're starting to clear out a little bit. We'll have partly cloudy skies with lows falling down into the mid-50s and more sunshine by Thursday. I'm ABC 17 Storm Track Chief Meteorologist Jessica Hafner, and that's your ABC 17 Storm Track forecast on your total sports station, KTGR.
All the hard hits.
He's under pressure, and down he goes. Inside the 20-yard line.
All the jaw-dropping moments.
Makes a man miss. 30, 20, near sideline, 10, 5, touchdown.
KTGR is your home for the high school football game of the week.
Oh, my goodness. Join us this weekend as the Rockbridge Bruins host the Helias Crusaders.
Coverage starts with high school kickoff, Friday night at 6 on Mid-Missouri's Total Sports Station, KTGR.
This weekend, cancel your plans. Brunch is calling at the Dive Bar in Columbia. Start with biscuits, not just any biscuits, local made, buttermilk, sweet corn, even gluten-free, smothered in scratch-made gravy, pork sausage, or the chorizo. Don't forget the loaded biscuit, fluffy omelet, drenched in gravy, stacked so high it's basically brunch art. And then there's the Dive Cristo, smoked ham, house-made raspberry jam, gooey cheese wrapped in a flaky puff pastry. The Monte Cristo wishes it was this good. Brunch, Saturday and Sunday only at the Dive Bar in Columbia. Don't just eat, experience.
Michael Agnew here with API Project Fitness. I understand that life is hard, and if you're soft, it will squish you. You must find a way to be hard. Armor yourself up mentally and physically and emotionally. Our goal is to help you find your inner strength and hardness. The difference between strength and weakness is choice. With our group fitness classes and personal training and open gym, the choice is yours. Choose strength. Find us at apiprojectfitness.com or call us at 573-268-6944 to make an appointment.
There's something special happening here, and it's because of big, bold ideas like yours. We are Fuse 32 Marketing, a marketing agency with a roster full of top-tier talent. Our digital ads and social pages pop off the screen. Our designers crush creative concepts, and we have some outrageously creative writers and producers to tell the stories of the brands we're building. Fuse 32 is redefining marketing with cutting-edge strategies and limitless creativity. Join our sales team at Fuse 32 Marketing, where there's nothing we can't do. Apply now at fuse32.com.
Pro Designs, but better than a billboard.
Hey, this is Jimmy with Pro Designs. And maybe you've heard, we're the vehicle wrap specialist, but branding your business doesn't stop there. At Pro Designs, we can wrap your walls, windows, even floors.
Go to ProDezigns.com.
Come see them at their locations in Eldon or Columbia off Rangeline Street and I-70.
Pro Designs, but better than a billboard.
It was 2:30 on a Tuesday when the phone rang. Brian Ware Plumbing answered the call. It was a dismayed wife. Fresh off vacation, her and her hubby came home to a wrecked water heater. It had sprung a leak, a bad one. So while the plumbing team took care of that leaky water heater, Brian's certified restoration guide, Josh, with 2 decades of experience, came in to restore the area and stop mold in its tracks. Another day, another job, another expert added to the team. Ho hum. Better call Brian and unplug your plumbing problems. BrianWarePlumbing.com.
KTGR and MU Healthcare Sports Medicine are highlighting a local athlete each week. It's the KTGR Athlete Spotlight.
This week features Father Tolton's senior forward, Austin Beckvar. In the Trailblazers' wins over Sacred Heart and Kirksville, Austin scored 6 goals and added 4 assists combined in the 2 games.
That's the KTGR Athlete Spotlight, thanks to MU Healthcare Sports Medicine, providing everything athletes need to be and stay at their best, because they're competitors too.
You know that old driver in the corner of your garage? The one half jammed into an old golf bag that's now serving as a spider hotel? Yeah, somebody wants that driver, you know. Play it against sports. They'll pay you for the gear you're not using. Golf equipment, fitness gear, baseball, softball, and more. Bring it in and cash out, or upgrade to something you need for the upcoming season. Play it against sports once your used equipment. They need it. So don't sit on it, swing on it. Play it against sports in Columbia. Think of them first so you don't finish last. Play it against sportscolumbiamo.com.
If it's Mizzou sports, it's happening here. Now, back to the big show on KTGR.
I got it. The tap master. That's what you should call the player that does the best at challenging pitches next year in Major League Baseball, because you got to tap your head, right?
The Tap Master.
Tap Master.
I think we'll workshop that one, but it's in contention.
Hey, you got to admit, it's not bad for coming up with it during a 4-minute commercial break.
For the first try, it's not bad. I'm not married to it, but it's not bad. I will give you that.
I'm open to more suggestions. What should we call the winner of the players that are 100%, because there will probably be some that do it enough and don't get anything wrong.
I can't wait. I really want to see who's going to be the person to make sure to log the database here. Somebody there's got to be like a StatCast on it or something next year. Because I'm excited. I don't know who's
scorecards. I'm sure will have a different branch that will then look at how that goes for certain players. But
who will be the umpires that get challenged the most but are right the most, right? Like the players are wrong the most percentage when it's that umpire. That'll be kind of one of those where I think that's a badge of honor as well. Like, these players think they know what's going on, but very rarely do they overturn my calls. And also, like, what's the percentage is going to be? Who's going to be the umpire that gets overturned the most? Like, this all has to be tracked. It's going to be a lot of fun.
It's going to be fascinating to lock in on that for Major League Baseball next season. All right, so in about 10 minutes or so, we're going to start learning officially the opponents for the next 4 years in the SEC. I believe that means that, it will not just be the annual opponents that Mizzou learns, which we already know. It'll be the other opponents too, how the rotation will look every other year for the remaining 12 teams over a 4-year period. Now, here was Eli Drinkwitz, who was asked by Gabe DeArmond of PowerMizzou.com today about, what's your response to getting Oklahoma, OU, or Oklahoma, Arkansas, and Texas A&M? We obviously know Mike Elko kind of had a little thing of like, I don't know why Missouri's in there, but it is what it is.
He said, I don't see how Missouri fits in. And it's like, well, we don't either.
Did Eli Drinkwitz say anything of that sort? Not so much. Here's his response.
I'm just trying to beat UMass. There's so much going on right now. I don't know that there's like you're going to play everybody in a 2-year deal. Like you play 3 permanents and then you play 6 and 26, and then you play the 3 permanents and you play the other 6 and 27. So I don't know that it matters. I think the SEC has just created a meat grinder that the teams are going to be in, and it's going to be a meat grinder. So whether you play those 3 permanents, you got to play everybody in the SEC every 2 years. So it is what it is. I don't know what anybody was hoping for. Like, there's not like, I was going to say it. There's not like there's a lot of bad teams in the SEC. It's everybody's got good players. Everybody's got drafted players. Everybody's got 4- and 5-star recruits. Everybody's got money in the portal. Everybody's got and then without divisions, it'll be fun.
I'll say it for Drinkwitz. Yeah, there is a team in the SEC that's bad. It's Kentucky. I'll say it for him. But yeah, other than that, there's a lot of good teams in the SEC. Pretty much everyone's good.
And Kentucky cyclical. Like Kentucky might be good again in a few years.
Yeah, you never know. Right?
Okay, we have, this would have been a great year to play Kentucky. Just after we started conquering Kentucky, like it was like the monkey on the back for a while, and then we didn't get to play him for a couple of years. But did that sound to you, Drinkwitz, in that presser, like a guy who already knows the schedule for next year? Or am I reaching? Do you think coaches know already what
they probably have an
inkling? Find out what
I'm sure they have an inkling, and we'll see what it looks like.
Because he was asked about the permanent opponents, the annual opponents, right?
Yeah.
But he talked a lot about just the meat grinder.
Well,
Are
to
we
a
gonna
degree,
see some stuff tonight.
Well, no, I don't even think that's even it. Like, because you're going to see everybody. Because I agree with his stance on it. Like, we get worked up over what the annual rivalries need to be, and we kind of lose sight of the fact that
you're playing everybody within 2 years.
Yeah. So you're not going to miss the game that isn't an annual game all that much, because you're going to get it the very next year, and it's not like you're going to be able to dodge anybody either. Or like have Kentucky on your schedule every single year, or other teams like that. So
the concern though is like, again, if we find out tonight that Mizzou's going to be on a bit of an every other, where like, oh my gosh, we have to play Alabama, Texas, and Georgia in the same year, and then like the other year is going to be easier. I don't know if that really will be the case. I assume they're going to try to competitive balance everybody's schedules, but inevitably there's going to be some where we go, well, hey, wait a minute. We would have loved to have had, that team in that year because this year is really more difficult for us. And, we've got our veteran quarterback this year. This is more of a retool year. Like it's going to be.
Well, I don't doubt that there could be some stuff where Mizzou gets the short end of the stick. It's happened before, by the way. Remember the COVID year when they're like, we're going to add 2 games to everybody's schedule, and the 2 additional games from Mizzou were Alabama and LSU. Great. Love that.
Beat LSU, though.
It did.
Beat LSU that year.
It did. LSU
didn't quite beat Alabama.
No.
Didn't
it started with Alabama. It was like the first game.
I remember.
Eli Drinkwitz debuting as head coach. Here you go. Alabama for you. What do you know? Bryce Young, #1 pick, Heisman Trophy. Oh, boy.
It's so funny. Never mind.
What?
Never mind. Was that a home game?
It was.
Alabama?
Yeah, they hosted Alabama. And LSU ended up being one because of a hurricane that year. It was supposed to be on the road, and they played here. So
Okay. Got it. Yeah. Were fans in attendance that year?
Barely. That was
not much.
It was like limited capacity, things like that.
That's why I was like, why didn't I lived in Columbia and I didn't go to those games, but I think I was like, there was a whole thing going on.
Limitation.
We had some stuff going on as a society. I'm sorry.
You also didn't know when the games were because games were canceled. And then by the way, you're not playing Arkansas this weekend. You're playing Vanderbilt instead. Like there was a bunch
that
of
happened
stuff.
too.
Yeah. It all was weird, but glad we're out of that.
And it's about to get weird again because I'm telling you, tomorrow we're going to go, can you believe that 26 schedule they just gave us? I mark my words. It's going to be a doozy.
All right. Be ready for our complaining tomorrow at 4 o'clock. Be sure to tune in. Thanks for joining us. Thanks to the injury expert, Will Carroll, for joining us as well. Tiger Talk at 7. You can hear from Eli Drinkwitz then. Maybe he'll give some inkling on what the schedule looks like for next year. Who knows? And then after that at 8 o'clock, Cardinals coverage as they take on the Giants. He's Brenden. I'm Andy. We're done for now.
You've already met a few members of the Family Pond family. Now it's time to meet the newest one. Family Pond's South Columbia location is